greatly concerned that a lot of the housing that's been developed recently has actually removed our more affordable housing and put in housing that only a few can afford. I believe that having this additional density downtown will actually lead to urban sprawl. The only times in history when you create a dense urban core and you don't get sprawl are when there are either physical or legal barriers that prevent that. Unfortunately, neither of those exist in our city or around our city. And so I'm very concerned that by transforming our city and creating a very dense urban core, we're actually going to perpetuate gentrification and create a city that is less that's even less diverse than it is today. One of the reasons that I chose to live in Ann Arbor after I graduated from the University of Michigan was because Ann Arbor was this really great town with this really, everybody was mixed in together, and we're losing that. We're losing that. We're pushing our people at lower or middle incomes out to the fringes of our city. And that's not the kind of Ann Arbor I want to see.
Thank you, Mr. Silkworth. And now, Mr. Smith, same question to you. What is your position on the number and type of new housing units in the downtown area?
Well, when I think about housing and I think about downtown, I think that the idea that we're only putting housing units downtown is the root of the problem, and that's where our concentration about density is. And the reason that there's such an emphasis and such a focus on people building bigger buildings with more density downtown is that's the only place that we let them do that. One of the things that we have to do a much better job of is figuring out how to provide housing that's close to jobs, have more dense housing in places where it's appropriate. So one of the things that we've been working on, or at least that I've been talking with some of my colleagues about, is the idea of a transit-oriented development overlay district at State and South State and Eisenhower, which is a major job center, and to put a lot of housing units there, remove some of the pressure on downtown. I think it's really critically important for us to create opportunities for people to live closer to jobs, particularly lower paid workers. The housing and transportation piece of affordability is absolutely huge. And when we're just talking about downtown, let's just realize that in the last 8 years, all of the buildings that have been built downtown, including the 2 dormitories, if you break those up into bedrooms, the number of units that we have added keeps pace with the university's increase in enrollment. It's not doing anything to address our housing